Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on the Alcatraz series by Brandon Sanderson. If you guys don't know, Alcatraz is one of my favorite middle grade series, and so I decided that I'm going to start my Brandon Sanderson book reviews with this series. The first book is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. It follows a boy named Alcatraz Smedry, and on his 13th birthday he receives a birthday present from an anonymous person, and it ends up being a bag of sand, which is promptly stolen by a cult of evil librarians, and then he is forced to go on a journey to try to stop the evil librarians from taking over the world. Alcatraz has a talent for breaking things, and throughout his entire childhood it has gotten him in loads of trouble, and he's been passed from foster family to foster family, and he doesn't really feel great about himself. He blames himself for the bad things that are happening to him and why he can't just get one family to accept him for the way that he is. And so at the beginning of the book he's really down on himself and he doesn't have a whole lot of self-confidence. Alcatraz ends up finding out that he is not your ordinary everyday boy. He is a Smedry, and that means that he has a superpower, and his superpower ends up being breaking things. Everyone in his family has these weird talents, and they're called the Smedry talents, and they are all ridiculous and silly, but they end up being able to use them in really cool and interesting ways. For instance, one of his family members is able to be late to things, and so he's late all the time pretty much, but he's also able to activate his talent to be late to random things. Like, he can be late if he's falling to hitting the ground really hard. He can postpone that from happening, and he can postpone tons of other random little things from happening. So it's just super ridiculous, but so funny at the same time. Once you get into the novel, you find out that there's something called the Hushlands, which is where we as normal people live. It's where the evil librarians have taken control and are controlling the information that people have access to. And then there's the Free Kingdoms, which is where people have all sorts of different technology, and in this world all of the technology is based around different types of sand and different types of what's called lenses. All the books are written in Alcatraz's perspective, and he is the author of the 5 books in the series. And at the beginning of the book he tells you how much of a coward he is, and he always tells you how things will happen, but sometimes they happen exactly how he says and sometimes they don't. So it's kind of a game trying to figure out which things will actually happen and which things won't, and if Alcatraz is telling the truth or the whole truth about different situations that are happening. And another cool thing about these books is the actual formatting of the books themselves. They're actually illustrated by Haley Lazo, and so I will show you some of the first illustrations. Like, that is the first, I think, illustration in the entire book. And then the inside jacket flap of the hardcovers is a map, so I'll show you that right now. So I really just like the formatting of the book in general. One of the things I love so much about this series is how humorous the characters are. They make jokes all the time and they are so funny. And there's a character named Bastille who Alcatraz and her go back and forth and banter a lot, which I just love. I think it's so funny because Alcatraz is more of your goofball, your very class clown-like character, and Bastille is very serious and very focused on the things that need to be done, where Alcatraz will kind of get distracted by other things. So their dynamic is absolutely hilarious to me. And another really funny part about this series is that one of the characters uses famous authors' last names as curse words, so he'll say Gambling Gaimans for Neil Gaiman. So once I started reading the 3rd book is when I started writing down every single time an author is mentioned. So I have the last 3 books all written out. I just need to read the first 2 and I'll have all of the authors' names, and I'm going to create a huge list. And one of the things that I'm going to do next year is read a book by every single one of the authors that I have not read a book from yet. I'll do a whole video on that when we get closer to that time. And the last funny thing I'm going to say about these books is that Alcatraz uses different pages within the book to talk about different things. So he'll point out something that he put in earlier pages that you didn't notice, and he'll point it out and talk about how you didn't notice it and that's why he's a great author, or so and so. Or if you flip to the back of the book, if you're one of those people that check the back of the book to see how it ends, he yells at you. There's pages in the back that yell at you for skipping pages. So the order of the books is Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians, The Scrivener's Bones, The Knights of Crystalia, The Shattered Lens, and finally, The Dark Talent. I actually gave every single book in this series 5 stars, so that's just how much I love it. But my favorite of the entire series ended up being The Knights of Crystalia. So if the first 2 are maybe 4-star reads for you, this was actually my favorite book of the series because it is just fun and humor. I was thoroughly entertained. I think I read it in one sitting. And obviously because I like the series so much, I recommend this to every single person ever in the world because there are so many things that you can get out of it from different ages. So if you're a younger middle grade reader, you're there for the adventure, you're there for the fun, for the different jokes and such. But if you're an adult, you can read it for the different authors' names or the little things that are thrown in for adults that they would appreciate as well. So it definitely is one of those middle grade books that can be read by anyone and everyone, and so I highly, highly, highly recommend this series. I don't want to go too much into the plot of all the books because I don't want to spoil anything, because I really want you to read every single one of the books. But I will say, you need to read the whole thing to get the whole picture. When you get to the last book, keep reading. I was sent this book for review by the publisher and I finished it, and when I finished it, I was actually really disappointed in it. I felt like sad in my heart, and I just didn't feel that great about it, if we're being honest. But then they sent me the finished copy, and for some reason I just felt like I needed to reread the last few chapters, and then my rating for this book was originally 4 stars, the ARC version, and then I read the finished copy and my rating for the finished copy is 5 stars. So if that's any indication of how they hurt me in this book and how they made up for it in the finished copy. So I talked to my friend when I finished this version of it, and I was a little bit ranting, and then when I got this book and I read the entire, like all of the extra bits that they have, I was just, I don't even have a word to describe how weird I felt about how I felt like this book tricked me a little bit. And a little bit I was embarrassed because I had written a Goodreads review and I was saying how I didn't like this, but then I got this and I loved it. So if you read this book and you don't read the whole thing, you need to read all of it. You need to read the end. To the very end, to the last page, to the end pages. That's what you need to do. So that's going to be my little review on the Alcatraz series by Brandon Sanderson. I mean Alcatraz Smedry. As I said before, I'm going to start rereading all of Brandon Sanderson's books and doing individual reviews on each series or each standalone, so then I can do a full review about Brandon Sanderson because he is my favorite author. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you have checked out the Alcatraz series, if you're going to in the future, because it is seriously my favorite middle grade series, I think. Like, I think it's Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and the Alcatraz books. So definitely let me know if you're going to check it out. I would love to talk to you. If you want to talk to me on Twitter about it, links will be down in the description. I would love to talk about the books. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.